I should have seen it coming. The way they looked at me, like I was just an open wallet, not a person. Not family. But I didn't. Not until the moment my mother-in-law leaned in, her perfume thick and cloying, and whispered the words that shattered everything. Leave, you lowlife. You don't belong here. And just like that, 10 years of love, sacrifice, and millions of dollars poured into their lives meant nothing. Before we dive in, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below letting us know where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. We're excited to connect with all of you, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing content. Now back to the story. My name is Elena Carter. And 3 years ago, I was nobody. I grew up in a cramped apartment with peeling wallpaper and a fridge that only stayed cold if you kicked it just right. College was a dream I couldn't afford, so I taught myself coding, marketing, how to sell things online. I stayed up until 3 a.m. watching YouTube tutorials while eating ramen, my laptop burning my thighs. Then I built something. A little drop-shipping store at first. Then a real brand. $1 million brand. And suddenly, I wasn't the girl from the wrong side of town anymore. I was Elena Carter. Entrepreneur. That's when I met Daniel. He was charming, warm, the kind of man who remembered how I took my coffee, oat milk latte, 1 sugar, and sent me flowers after our first date. His family was different. Old money, or at least they acted like it. His mother, Margaret, had a way of looking at me like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. But Daniel loved me. At least I thought he did. And I loved him. So when his brother lost his job, I gave him one at my company. When his father needed surgery, I paid for it. When Margaret's precious country club dues came up short, I covered them, every damn year. I thought I was part of the family. I was wrong. It happened at the vacation house in the Hamptons, the one I paid for. We were all there. Daniel, his smug brother Jason, his frail father who never thanked me, and Margaret, who sipped her gin like it was liquid superiority. I was in the kitchen, refilling my wine, when she cornered me. "You must be so proud of yourself," she said, her voice sweet as poison. I smiled, stupidly thinking it was a compliment. "I worked hard." She laughed. "Oh, I'm sure. But let's be honest. Money doesn't buy class." The glass in my hand felt suddenly heavy. "Excuse me." She stepped closer, her eyes cold. "You're a charity case, Elena. A project. Daniel married you because he felt sorry for you. But now." She smirked. "You're just embarrassing. Leave, you lowlife. You don't belong here." The words hit like a slap. I looked past her, to where Daniel stood in the doorway. He'd heard. And he said nothing. That's when I knew. I set the wine glass down carefully, my hand steady even though my chest was breaking. "Okay," I said softly. Then I walked out. I didn't take my car. Didn't take my purse. Just left in the clothes I was wearing, my phone in my pocket. And as the door closed behind me, I made 2 promises to myself. They would never see me cry. They would regret this. The first night was the worst. I didn't have my wallet. No ID, no credit cards. Just the clothes on my back and my phone, which was buzzing non-stop with Daniel's calls. I silenced it and kept walking. The Hamptons weren't made for people without cars, but I walked until my feet burned, until the manicured lawns and gated mansions blurred into something uglier. I ended up at a 24-hour diner, the kind with sticky floors and coffee that tasted like acid. The waitress, a tired woman with smudged eyeliner, took one look at me and slid a cup across the counter without asking. "Rough night," she muttered. I wrapped my hands around the mug, letting the heat sear my palms. "You could say that." I called the only person I could think of, Lena, my college roommate, the one who'd see me through every disaster before the money. She picked up on the second ring. "Elena? It's 2 a.m. I need a place to stay." My voice didn't sound like mine. There was a pause. Then, "Give me the address." Lena's apartment was tiny, cluttered with half-finished art projects and thrift store furniture. She didn't ask questions, just handed me a glass of whiskey and a pair of sweatpants. I didn't sleep. I sat on her couch, staring at my phone as the notifications piled up. "Daniel. Where are you? Daniel. This isn't funny. Daniel. Call me." Then, an hour later. "Daniel, if you're trying to punish me, It's working. I laughed. A sharp, broken sound. Punish him? He had no idea. By morning, the numbness wore off, and the rage set in. I tried to log into my bank accounts. Password incorrect. Again. Password incorrect. Daniel had locked me out. My hands shook as I called my CFO Mark. Freeze everything, I said. All business accounts. Now. Elena? What's going? Just do it. Too late. By noon, I got the alert. $250,000 transferred to Daniel Carter's private account. My money. Our money legally, but mine in every way that mattered. I was the one who'd built the company. I was the one who'd stayed up nights sweating over spreadsheets while Daniel played golf with his trust fund friends. And now he was stealing from me. Lena forced me to eat toast while I scrolled through social media. There it was, Margaret's first shot. A carefully staged photo of the family at the dinner table. My empty chair like a missing tooth. The caption. Sometimes God removes people from your life for a reason. #blessed, #family first. The comments were worse. Praying for Daniel. He deserves better. Gold diggers always show their true colors. Knew she wasn't one of us. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall with a crack. Lena didn't flinch. So, she said, lighting a cigarette out the window. What's the plan? I stared at my hands. My wedding ring, a flawless diamond, bought with my money, glinted in the sunlight. I twisted it off. I'm going to ruin them. The lawyer was expensive. Good. You're entitled to half the marital assets, she said, flipping through my files. But given the prenup, I don't want half. I leaned forward. I want everything. She raised an eyebrow. That's not how divorce works. I smiled. I'm not talking about divorce. I slid a folder across the table. Inside, proof of Daniel's brother embezzling from my company. Proof of Margaret's charity fund that somehow paid for her Botox. Proof that Daniel had been funneling money into a secret account for months. The lawyer whistled. Well, this changes things. That night, I sat on Lena's fire escape, watching the city lights flicker. My phone buzzed. Another call from Daniel. This time, I answered. Elena, finally. How much did you take? My voice was calm. Silence. Then, it's our money. How much? A pause. Enough. I closed my eyes. You're going to regret that. He laughed. Actually laughed. Or what? You'll sue me? Good luck. You've got nothing. I hung up. He was wrong. I had nothing, and that meant I had nothing left to lose. The first step was easy. I sent the embezzlement records to the board of directors. Anonymously, of course. Let them connect the dots themselves. Within 48 hours, Jason was escorted out of the company by security. His face pale as the resignation letter trembled in his hands. The news hit the industry blogs by lunchtime. Carter family member ousted amid financial scandal. I watched it all unfold from a cafe across the street, sipping black coffee like it was champagne. Daniel called me 12 times that afternoon. I let it go to voicemail every single time. The second step required finesse. I still had friends in the company. People who owed me favors, who remembered who really built the empire. One email, one carefully worded request, and suddenly, every vendor, every investor, every client received a very interesting file. Bank statements. Contracts. Proof that Daniel had been siphoning funds long before I walked out. By the end of the week, 3 major investors pulled out. The stock price plummeted. Margaret posted another photo, this time of her at church, hands clasped in prayer. The devil tests us, but faith prevails. I replied with a screenshot of the nose-diving stock chart. No caption. Just the numbers. She blocked me within minutes. The third step? That was my favorite. I'd kept one secret from everyone. Even Daniel. A shell company, registered under a fake name, quietly buying up shares of my own business while the price tanked. By the time Daniel realized what was happening, it was too late. The emergency board meeting was glorious. I walked in wearing a tailored black suit, my hair slicked back, no wedding ring in sight. The room went dead silent. Daniel looked like he'd seen a ghost. You can't be here. I took the seat at the head of the table. His seat, and crossed my legs. Actually, I own 34% of the company now. So I can be wherever I want. His face twisted. You bitch. The CEO cleared his throat. Elena has voting control. I smiled. Motion to remove Daniel Carter as CFO. All in favor. The hands went up. Every single one. That night, Daniel showed up at Lena's apartment, drunk and desperate. You ruined me, he slurred, swaying on the doorstep. I leaned against the frame, arms crossed. No. Daniel. You did that all by yourself. He lunged, not at me, but toward me, like he wanted to grab me, shake me, something. Lena stepped between us, her fist already clenched. Try it, she hissed. He backed off, but his eyes burned. You'll regret this. I shut the door in his face. Through the wood I heard him scream. You'll never win. I texted my lawyer one word. Proceed. The divorce papers hit the next morning, along with a lawsuit for fraud, embezzlement, and breach of fiduciary duty. And my final gift? A lien on Margaret's beloved house, the one I'd paid off last year. The media ate it up. Self-made millionaire strikes back against fraudulent husband. The fall of the Carter family. A cautionary tale. Daniel's face was everywhere. Pale, hollow-eyed, a far cry from the golden boy he'd once been. Margaret stopped posting on social media altogether. And me? I sat in my new office, my office in my company, and watched the sunset through floor-to-ceiling windows. This wasn't revenge. This was justice. The calls started coming in around 3 a.m. I let the phone ring, watching the screen light up the dark bedroom. Daniel. 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 3 missed calls, then silence. I already knew what he wanted. The legal storm had hit full force, and the Carters were drowning. I rolled over, pulling the sheets tighter around me. Sleep wouldn't come, but I didn't care. I hadn't felt this alive in years. By morning, the news had broken. Carter family assets frozen amidst mounting legal battles. I scrolled through the article with my coffee, savoring every word. The lawsuit had done its job, every bank account, every property, every last cent tied up in court. And thanks to the lien on Margaret's house, she was facing foreclosure. Lena whistled as she read over my shoulder. Damn. You really buried them. I took a slow sip. Not yet. The hearing was a formality. Daniel didn't even show. His lawyer, some overpriced suit who kept checking his watch, tried to argue for leniency. Mr. Carter has suffered enough, he droned. His reputation is in tatters, his career over. Surely Miss Carter doesn't wish to. I do. The judge barely glanced at the paperwork before ruling in my favor. Full ownership of the company. Every asset returned to me. And as for Daniel? He was left with nothing but debt and a lawsuit he couldn't afford to fight. I walked out of the courthouse into a barrage of cameras. Elena, any comment for the press? Do you feel vindicated? What's next for you? I paused at the top of the steps, sunglasses hiding my eyes. No comment. Then I smiled and kept walking. Margaret finally broke. She ambushed me outside my building, her designer coat rumpled, her hair frazzled. The woman who'd once looked at me like I was dirt now stood trembling on the sidewalk. You monster, she spat. Do you have any idea what you've done? I adjusted my gloves, unfazed. I know exactly what I've done. Her composure cracked. We loved you. I laughed. Sharp, humorless. No. You loved my money. Her face twisted. For a second, I thought she might lunge at me. Then, just as quickly, she deflated. What do you want? She whispered. I leaned in close. I wanted you to know how it feels. The final piece came together quietly. I sold the company. Every last share. For more money than even I'd dreamed. The press called it a shocking exit. My employees got generous severance packages. My investors walked away happy. And me? I bought a one-way ticket to Bali. Lena helped me pack. You're really just gonna disappear? I zipped up the last suitcase. For a while. She grinned. Good. You deserve it. The night before my flight, my phone buzzed one last time. Daniel. Please. Just talk to me. I stared at the message, my thumb hovering over the screen. Then I typed 3 words and blocked his number. Elena. Enjoy the fallout. I dropped the phone into the trash and never looked back.